Brought to you by The Witcher Wild Hunt, available May 19th.
Hey guys, and welcome to Reality Check. I am not Cam. Sorry about that. But to ease the transition, I thought I'd take on one of his favourite game series, The Witcher, as the basis for this week's episode. The conclusion to CD Projekt Red's high fantasy trilogy managed to score the perfect 10 from GameSpot's own Kevin Van Ord, who praised its absorbing story, fantastic attention to detail, and its phenomenal open world. But just how big is the land of Temeria? Well, according to CDP, it is 20% bigger than Skyrim's vast expanse, and it's 35 times bigger than The Witcher 2. Oh, and that big open world comes without loading screens. So how have CD Projekt Red managed to make The Witcher 3 so huge?
That's what she said.
Oh. Well, the short answer is technology and a smart use of level design. I'm not going to get bogged down in the technicalities in this episode, but part of the reason why we can get open world games as big as The Witcher's is due to technology. More RAM and faster processors give developers better and faster ways of accessing game files like artwork and sound, meaning that really long load screens are slowly dying out. Well, I did say slowly. So how are open world games usually made? Well, technology is only part of the answer. It's not just one big map that loads at once, rather it's chunks of the map stitched together. While you're playing, the game loads your immediate surroundings to its memory. But what about the area you've just passed through? Well, if it hung about, it would just clog up valuable memory, so it gets dumped. This process of feeding in new and pushing out old data is called streaming, and it's the reason why you don't get a load screen while scrambling around levels. Of course, it's not quite as simple as that. Have you ever wondered why your character's movement is forcibly slowed to a crawl in certain areas? Or why some buildings are just laid out really weirdly and have so many lifts? Or even why your character randomly needs to squeeze through small cracks in the environment? Well, that's because streaming has its own memory limitations. The most insanely detailed and vast areas of land tend to take longer to load, so to hide this, level designers use choke points to give the game a bit more time. Engines like Epic's new Unreal 4 help to circumvent this problem with the new world composition tech. Instead of breaking up the world into little chunks, it's levels of detail that get streamed in and out as needed. It's a tool that developer Jaeger, famed for tricking you into shelling innocents with white phosphorus in Spec Ops: The Line, have been working with for 2 years in order to recreate the city of Los Angeles for Dead Island 2. But The Witcher 3 was developed in CD Projekt Red's custom-made Red Engine 3, which was specifically designed for these vast open-world environments. They completely rewrote the streaming system that they used for The Witcher 2, obviously, because that game wasn't open-world at all. It was a series of enclosed areas separated by our old friends' loading screens. With the jump to open-world, the new system needed to be able to load resources in such a way that Geralt can walk freely from one end of the map to the other without encountering a single load screen. The problem being is that there's just an incredible amount of audio and visual assets to load, like music, artwork, and the game's logic, meaning that the meager memory offerings of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 just didn't cut it. This is why there's no last-gen version of the game, and it's even why companies like Ubisoft are going to be current-gen only from now on, apart from Just Dance. That's never going away. And while previous Red Engines were portable across both 32 and 64-bit operating systems, Red Engine 3 is 64-bit only. This extra processing power and memory usage means that more assets can be loaded at the same time, which means we see way more of the map and we don't get stuck with all of those loading screens. This was a very top-line look at how open-world games in this current generation are able to be so much bigger and more detailed than in the last. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking a really in-depth look at how technological advances are able to change gaming as we know it. Game changers, if you'll pardon the expression. In the meantime, you can catch me on Twitter at LucyJamesGames, and I'll see you next time.